Welcome, Inbaal Honigman, to the Soul Diary podcast. Thank you so much for joining me all the way from England.
Thank you so much for having me. You have no idea how excited I am.
Well, I am excited. So, Inbal is a well-known psychic, tarot reader, astrologer, and witch. Wow. Oh, I want to know. When people hear the word witch, there's like a stigma associated with it. Like they could get scared and really worried. Like, what does witch mean for you, and how would you best describe it in your practice?
For me, the word witch goes right back to the old meaning of the word. It's connected to the word wise. And I've always been fascinated with the concept, with the idea of the wise woman who knew what herbs, what poultices to put on the wounded, on people that needed a little bit of help with love, people that need a little bit of help with a boost. So for me, the concept of the wise woman is really sort of embedded in my practice, and which the word stems from that, and which the practice stems from that. So I love helping, and I love making the magical accessible to all. And I feel like as a witch, I stand between the two worlds and kind of welcome people in.
Oh, I love that because, I'm from the former Soviet Union and I'm from a village, not me. Well, okay, I am kind of, but anyway, my great grandmothers and they used, people used to come and like they do all these little concoctions and healings and I love that because I do that in my practice and I love that. So it's not like witch, like, ooh, voodoo and really scary dark spells. We're talking about white witch. We're talking about, helping and healing. And what you do is amazing. You've got like a little I've seen your little concoction you've put together as well that
Oh,
that
I
you do.
love it. My concoction is my first, after 25 years of this being my full-time job, it's my first physical product. I'm so excited
Oh, it's
about it.
beautiful. And what does it say? Because my camera's
This
not.
is Inbal's Apothecary Love Magical Oil.
Oh,
And
I love
I
that.
made it with my friend Amanda, who lives in the New Forest. So if you know the history of Wicca in the UK, the New Forest is where the old covens were and where they would
Yeah.
meet, where they would do spells against the Nazi forces. So the New Forest has an illustrious witchy history. So I know that a friend of mine said to me, "Oh, you just, promoting a product." And I was like, "I'm sorry. Who? What? I do not promote products. No, this is something, it took us like a year to come up with the actual like fragrance and
I love
the ingredients that would go into it because we're very far away. I'm in Yorkshire in a village,
that.
which is about a 4 hour drive from London.
Oh,
And
wow.
she's all the way in the south, which is about a 3 hour drive away from London. So we're very far away. So she
Wow.
would concoct things and post them to me, and I would sort of smell between like all different versions of the love oil. So it took us almost a year to put the love oil together. And
Oh,
this
wow. I
is
love that.
this is the love oil. And we now also have the wealth oil that I'm
Oh,
also so excited by. So, anyone can create their own potion and concoction. We don't gatekeep anything. We've got the ingredients right there on the bottle. I mean, first of all, it's the law, but also
aside
because,
from the
you
law.
know, because if you read all the books and have
Yeah.
all the experience, you know which oils work well when you try to encourage abundance, which oils work well when you try to encourage romance. So none of it is like secret
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
Um, but just having that in a bottle. And do you know what the best thing is for me? That this is the product I've always needed.
Oh,
And
I love that.
there's nothing more satisfying than putting out something that you yourself view as the perfect product,
Yeah,
which,
100%.
because
Yes.
we work similarly in lots of
Yeah, yeah,
ways.
absolutely. It's all about passion. It's all coming from within. It's
Yeah.
not oh, just like a commercial product that you do like thousands of. This is about like it comes from the magic within, and you want to share your magic with everybody else because you know what it does. And I love that. I love that passion you have. What was
Thank you.
can you share your first memory of magic, like you experiencing it? Like when did you
I
realize that? Because we all can do it, but when did you realize like, wow, this is powerful what I've just done?
I think if anybody tells you that they didn't start with a love spell, they're probably hiding something. So
Oh, so that's how it started for you.
that, well, yeah, is it different how it started for you? Although I think, do you know what? I'm now 50, and I feel like for my whole generation, maybe 10 years after, it all started from love. But I feel like the younger generation now have had to live through economic hard times.
Yeah.
So perhaps an abundance spell
Yeah.
was the first actual spell for everybody 35 and under at the moment. So, I make a joke about it, but times change and, and society changes. But for me, years ago, I had already been messing around with the tarot for a long while. And in several completely different, unrelated situations, people asked me if I was a witch, referred to me as a witch, sort of in that exact open and understanding way that we just talked about. And I thought, I'm not, but I'm also not somebody to turn away a sign from the universe. So if perhaps I am, I thought, let's take myself to where all good things start, the bookshop. Now we
Yeah.
are talking before smartphones, before Google, before
No
social
internet.
media.
No
The
internet.
bookshop was the bookshop was it. The bookshop was the Google, right?
That was my Google.
Yeah, that was my Google. And I went to a huge bookshop in central London. So you can imagine like 5 floors right there on Oxford Street. And there was one shelf with self-help, magic, spirituality all in one shelf. There was like the Bible there, the Quran there, and no, three magic books.
Wow.
One of them, that's it, three. Now there's like walls and
Oh,
walls and walls in the
yeah.
bookshop, and what is in the bookshop is nothing compared to what is, in the end of your hand on your phone. So one of the books looked really interesting, but it had some kind of vexation magic on it, how to get even with an enemy and stuff. And I thought, doesn't sound very me. So that stayed in the shop. But they also had a very
You
cute,
got it. You still got
um,
it.
I've got it. Yeah, of course. I don't throw, throw books
Good,
away.
good. No, it's excellent. Oh,
Um, it's actually still quite shiny. I think it's just the
it looks
faded
very new.
spine. The spine is a completely different color, so you can see that it is elderly. So this was a very, very cute spell book that had like a list of the different oils that work for different spells and different
Wow.
days of the week and the star signs. So it's like a reference book.
Yeah.
And I also found a copy of Vivian Crowley's Wicca. I don't know if you can hear me. Sorry, I realized there's no microphone. Vivian Crowley's Wicca, which is also somewhere here. It's purple. I don't know why I can't see it. Maybe I moved it to
Purple
another
book right
shelf.
behind you. There's one on the top shelf right behind you. Purple. Is that it? No, no, maybe it's not that one.
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
it says Wicca on the side. We'll find it. We'll find it. No panic.
That's
They,
Inbal using her Google right now.
yeah. This is like the Quora. This is the Quora. Um, Yeah, it's very strange for me that it's not just. Oh, there we go. Again, very faded. Vivian Crowley's Wicca,
Ah,
the old religion in the new millennium.
Oh,
That was
okay.
in the 90s.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a book
yeah.
from the 90s. So again, you can see that the spine used to be purple, stopped being purple a while back. So I took those two books home with me and went through them. And I used the kind of reference book to create a love spell. And on the one hand, I thought, do I want to go full, face first into magic? Is it my thing? And then I reasoned with myself and I said, if it's not my thing, it won't work.
Yeah.
It's magic. It can just as easily not work as work. So what's the worst that can happen?
You have
Which
nothing to lose, right?
there's nothing to lose. I say that. I say that. I think, when you approach magic with any less innocent than what I approached it, then lots of things can happen for sure.
Yeah.
But I did approach it very innocently. I must have been, I don't know, 23, 22. It was a long time ago. And
You're only
I,
25. What do you mean?
it was a while back. It was a while. It was before the Google. Um, so I found a pink candle
Ah,
and I found rose incense. I've always liked incense and candles anyway, so it was, I found it in a drawer, and I lit the candle and I lit the incense, and I then went, hunting. I didn't leave a lit candle indoors. No. I waited for it to go all the way down. I went hunting and I met someone who ticked quite a few boxes, but didn't tick some other boxes. And that was my first lesson in magic, to be very specific about
ah,
what you need, to be very specific about what you want.
I agree with that. I always tell people it has to be like a cake recipe. You miss one ingredient and it's a dud. You've got to be specific. It goes with manifesting, goes with magic, goes with everything. You cannot miss one ingredient, people.
Yeah, even affirmations,
Yeah.
they're so innocent sounding, but if you don't have like the full foundation, the whole thing's going to collapse. So it was somebody who was visually the kind of thing that I like, very cute accent. I don't want to alienate some of your viewers, but New Zealand accent.
Oh, Kiwi.
Okay.
You liked it.
Um, and he was kind of alternative. I met him at a music venue, so he liked the same kind of music as me. But he was leaving the country the next day. And I
Ah,
thought, wow, how did I not think to put that in the list?
another
Lives in
lesson.
London.
Another
Lives in
lesson.
London. So important. So by the next time I did a love spell, I had a list as long as your arm and mine. And since then it's just took the wheels off, and I have magicked everything, everything.
Wow.
I've magicked the career that I have. I've magicked the house. I've magicked the children. I was, officially infertile. I'm now a mom of four. Um,
Proud.
I
Wow. Congratulations.
swear, fertility magic is really not that hard because you're not trying to impact somebody else and sort of change things. Fertility magic, if it's right for you, it'll just, it'll
I
it'll
agree.
work. Out of all the different ways of magic,
Yeah.
fertility is not the hardest. You work with people that,
I do as
deal
well.
with
Yeah, I
that.
love it. I'm into
Yeah.
candle magic, so I do a lot of herbs and candle magic. So I love that. And I completely agree with you. So it's not that complicated. It's just about doing it right and not missing anything. That's really important.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of balance because, the whole system is very, very complex. But when you do love magic, then you're magicking for somebody else to enter your life, and so many different things have to fall into place and to fit. So that is a little complicated. Whereas fertility magic, you're just influencing your own hormones, your own cycles, things that you live with all the time anyway. But yeah, I've magicked everything since, and I'm not even sorry. Do you know what I mean? Because
Even
I
so.
feel like everybody wants to have the life that they want. As a witch, I enter any kind of magicking session or manifesting session with the Wiccan approach of harming none. And at the end of any spell, I say out of free will and for the good of all. And that means that my free will doesn't interfere with anybody else's free will. So, for example, not that I ever did, but if I ever were to do like a lottery spell, and that's an
You hear
example
that,
that we
everyone? A lottery spell. She does lottery spells.
but I've never done it for me because I'm Pisces. I'm Pisces. You know, love spells for sure. You know, babies, yes. Lottery, do you know what I mean? You know,
You know,
there's bigger things. But when you do something like a lottery spell or to like win a contest, win a competition where there can only be one winner, and if that specific win is not written, is not intended for you, then I feel like it's very responsible to approach it and to say out of free will and for the good of all. So if that win, that specific week's win is somebody else's, because the universe is very complicated and there's like 7 billion of us sharing the planet, then it won't happen for you. And if magic sometimes doesn't happen or doesn't happen within the time frame that I wanted for it to happen, then I think, well, you know, there must be a really, really good reason that
mm,
it didn't happen in this specific circumstance, in this specific, you know, moment, and it'll happen exactly when it needs to happen.
100%. I always say it's like a chessboard. All the pieces need to be in the right position for things to happen. So you can't force it because of free will. So you have to wait till this here happens for this to happen, and then the magic can happen. We can make the right environment, and we can prep it and get it all ready, but there's a lot of other factors involved. For
Yeah.
somebody wanting to get started in magic, what would you recommend? Because I mean, it's very exciting. People love it. I mean, it's taboo. It can be scary. Just to be clear to all the listeners, this isn't black magic we're talking about. We're talking all white magic. Um, what would you recommend for somebody wanting to start? And like, what's a safe learning tool? Like, there are a lot of books out there, like, and a lot of resources on the internet. How would you recommend somebody to get started?
There's a lot of books, there's a lot of resources. I would, you know, venture out and say that the majority of them are really okay. But I believe that the magic is from you and within you. And so, for example, I've got loads of magic spells that are like magic recipes, but I'm also really, really passionate that you don't have to follow any specific recipe. You can create your own recipe. I mean, you said it exactly with baking, you know, because if you think to yourself, well, what will happen if I take out this sugar and put honey instead? It's practically the same ingredient. It'll be more like my style. So I think you can do exactly the same with magic. But before you approach magic, I think it's really important to have a good balanced relationship with yourself so that you don't end up asking for things out of anger, out of low self-worth, out of a sense of, you know, of the universe mistreating you. I think it's really important to internalize the concepts of balance, free will, yours and everybody else's, and also the concept of justice. Um, I feel that there's a very sort of commonly held mistake where people think that justice is whatever they want.
Mhm.
And it really isn't. Justice has a lot more to do with, you know, with the other 600 billion and, you know, 999 million people around. Um, but for me, one of the best first steps into magic is affirmations. So I'm exactly the same as you. I love candle magic. I love candle. Rather than herbs, because I do love herbs. This isn't mine, but it's like my favorite brand. I don't know if it's okay to sort of advertise, but it's Star Child. No connection, no
Oh, it's
sponsorship.
not endorsed.
No, exactly. I
Amazing.
do like herbs, but I don't understand herbs like you do. I understand essential oils
Yeah.
and kind of how they work together. But I love candle magic. I love essential oils. I love fragrances. I love incense. So all of that. But affirmations in being words, and words are a great equalizer. We all know them. We all use them. Affirmations, for my money, are as strong a magic as anything that you can concoct.
Mm.
And when you nail the style of affirmations that you find to be effective, then that already gets you to the starting line, because you'll see how justice works and how balance works and how intent works and how important it is to say the right things. So I've been doing affirmations since before I did my first spell, since goodness me, at least a couple of years before I did my first spell. I didn't even know it was magic.
Yeah,
I
you didn't
just
even know it was an
thought,
affirmation. You were just being positive. You were just
yeah,
putting out.
exactly. I thought, it probably just sort of works on a psychological level. And in a way, everything kind of does work also on a psychological level, but I also really, really believe in the magic of it.
Yeah.
But I've always done um, 9 affirmations a day. Sometimes I change them. Sometimes they'll be the same affirmations for a year or more than a year. When I feel neat and tidy, I'll break them down into 3 lots of 3. So it'll be like 3 affirmations for the family, 3 affirmations for the home, 3 affirmations for my fitness, for example.
Oh,
But I
yeah, yeah,
don't always feel tidy. So,
yeah.
I could be like 6 months of having like a whole mishmash of affirmations. For me, 9 is a very magical number. I started doing affirmations as 9. So, so I still do. Yeah, I think I used to have them in my little pink diary for a long time, but for the past 4 years or so, I've had them on my phone diary, and
What's
they just kind of,
technology?
they flash up
Oh,
once a day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A
love
Pisces that can
it.
program her phone. It's a rare breed.
I'm impressed. I'm really impressed.
Thank you. Thank you. So for me, a brilliant entry level spell is affirmations. Affirmations want to be in the present tense. So
Mm.
not I will get the job of my dreams, but I am getting the job of my dreams.
It's happening.
Or
It's already
can
happening.
even be, it can be cuter. It can be the job of my dreams is coming to me. Make
Yeah.
it cute. Why not?
Put a
It's
vibe into it.
yeah, yeah. I am ready for the job of my dreams to approach me. So many different ways. You
Yeah.
can even, you know what? Go ahead, cheat the system. Use all 3 so that you're kind of tripling up on the
You covered
same.
your bases.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's no way for that dream job to escape your
Yeah.
vibe. It's there. It wants to be always in the positive, which is sometimes really hard to not sort of use the no word, the
Yeah.
without. I even think I used to have this affirmation of like I am fearless, and I was like, wait, 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 no, I'm cheating myself here. Why is the word fear in my affirmation?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not fearless. I'm courageous.
Correct. It's so important to watch the words you use. And I think that's where people get stumbled, or stumped, I should say. They'll say something, it's like, but it hasn't happened. I still feel this way. And it's like, well, go back, review. What did you actually say? What did you mean? And your heart, mind, and soul needs to be all aligned. You can't say one thing and not believe it. You have to
Yeah,
be aligned. It's so important. Otherwise, you can't be saying, I'm courageous and feeling scared. You
yeah,
do that. You've got to really believe the words you say. It is so important.
yeah.
Moving away from magic, well, we're kind of going to still talk a little bit about it, but
Not too far away.
not too far away, all in the same realm. Let's talk about psychics, another taboo subject, us being psychics. Look, it's definitely evolved over time, and it was such a taboo subject. You say the word psychic, and it was like, oh, either you're afraid of it or you were scammed by it.
Yeah.
How are you finding it now? Using the word to describe who you are as well. How are you finding, you know, people responding to it, the public to you being a psychic?
I feel like we've worked very hard for many years to shift the public perception of the word psychic. And it's going to sound really conceited. I'm not saying it from a conceited perspective, but really from the point of view of a social observer of trends. When I first did a psychic TV show, it was the year 2000, and they couldn't call it psychic. It was called Mystic Challenge, and the original name would have been Psychic Challenge because that's what it was, but it needed to be mystic because psychic, the word, was just too taboo. That's 2000. By 2004, when I was the first phone psychic on the what is now Psychic Today channel. It was called Psychic Interactive for many years. It actually started from being called Psychic TV. Then in those short 4 years, psychic was already a little bit more accepted. It was a little bit woo.
Mm,
The other people in the other studios used to call us the freaks upstairs, which is fine. It's fine. The freaks upstairs in the TV studio is still better than the freaks upstairs, in my house,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's fine. Um, but it had already established itself enough that whatever laws and regulations were there to stop it from being in the TV guide
Mm,
had dissipated. So that was an important step. And what we've got now, so we're talking 2004, it's a long time now.
yeah.
A lot of people who are our clients now used to watch the show for 20 years. So to them, the word is not taboo at all. It had been in their TV guide for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of working psychics who themselves had to kind of swim upstream against the stigma suddenly had somebody to identify with and work alongside with because we had a lot of working from home team um, right there in what was the public eye. So it was pretty mind-blowing that changes were observed, can be observed just over the space of what is barely a generation, barely a
Mm,
generation.
mm, yes.
So when I now say I'm a psychic, there's more of an issue with people who struggle to spell it because it's such a hard word to
You get
spell.
physic, you get all different kinds of spellings of it. I know.
Exactly. The H goes all the way on the
Yeah.
start. No, it's very hard. But yeah, but I get more people struggling to spell it than
Say it.
people who would struggle to um embody or to kind of understand what it is. So it's really sort of what I think of as my generation, people my own age, who are still a little uncertain about it
Yeah.
because what I believe is that the generation before, the people that had just one channel on their TV and the phone was either down the road in somebody else's house,
Yeah.
those people would sit around reading each other's coffee cups. And actually, I feel like the generations older than me were pretty okay about, coffee read. They wouldn't call it a psychic, perhaps,
Correct.
but
They don't
they,
call it
but they
psychic.
would say, I know somebody that can help you with that.
Yeah. or you needed an ailment. It was like, oh, the doctors didn't help. I know somebody who can help you with that. Like we
Yeah.
were always, hush hush on the DL, which is like how I started, very much on the DL. I didn't want people to know either that what I was doing because I knew the taboo that was around it. So I was very, very careful about it initially. And then, eventually came out. But
Exactly. Now there's a light up sign right by the
now I've
side
got
of
a
your
light
head.
saying, if you don't know who I am, just just read the light behind me. Um, Before we end, I really want to talk about something exciting coming off this topic. And I'm sure what's also helped with psychics is that a lot of celebrities would go to psychics and get advice or guidance and do readings because they needed that kind of guidance. And I've done a bit of stalking on you online on Google, Google. And they said you've done, yeah, yeah. And they said you've done a lot of celebrity predictions. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. How do these amazing messages come to you?
A lot of the celebrity predictions are commissioned, by the newspapers. So, and a lot of the celebrity predictions are sort of really fascinating because there's people that are living this kind of
Yeah,
larger than life existence. They've got, anything they want at their fingertips. They're surrounded by yes people. They can go on spectacular holidays. I heard I think from a therapist like years ago that the majority of relationships fail over financial arguments.
yeah,
And when you're looking at those, ultra wealthy people, they don't have that so much. So
yeah,
it is really, really magical to look into somebody's relationship where the world is their oyster. Um,
and they're in the public eye. Everyone
and
will know
they're
what's going
and
on.
they're in the public eye, which probably sort of makes things, first of all, much harder because you can't really have the kind of, argument in the street, which is, one of my hobbies. And and also you'll have a lot of lies told about you to promote somebody else's agenda. So yeah, nobody's really living a charmed life. And the problems that the ultra wealthy have in the relationships are just different. They're not
Yeah,
really better. They're just different. But the majority of those readings that you see in the press are commissioned by the papers. And so I get to approach it from a more detached perspective because I'll just look at the tarot, or if it's an astrology compatibility reading, I'll look at their charts and just sort of say what works, what doesn't work. Whereas, when you sit with a client, you feel what they're feeling and you are on their side and you will step in and tell them how to get what they want, or sometimes you have to step in and tell them, babe,
yeah,
you can do so much better than this. why
yeah.
why why to break your head over somebody who doesn't deserve you even a little bit? um
100%.
so those kind of press readings are more detached. They're more for fun. They're more like a parlor game. What is interesting is when you do a reading in private for
Yeah.
somebody who's really interesting, or for somebody who you've admired for a long time and you're trying to sort of not
No,
fangirl.
you actually need to detach yourself from being like, like that little fangirl going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm reading for you. You have to
I
kind
can't
of,
believe it.
okay, remove yourself from this
Yeah.
situation and be a
Yeah.
leader. Yeah. I know
Yeah.
the feeling.
And it's actually really interesting that, as we were going through the twists and turns and the different changes that different generations have had towards the word psychic, we actually sort of came up with the celebrity world on the end, because actually the celebrity world have always used psychics.
Mm,
They've always known the best people to go to. They've always been able to afford to see whoever they want to see. They've always been able to commission parties and non-disclosure agreements and, special magical work. So the celebrity world has always had this kind of
Relation.
love
Yeah.
relationship
Yeah.
with the psychic world. And I don't know if you remember the Doors movie with Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But there is a really touching scene there where he's initiated into a Wiccan coven
Yeah.
because it was there. And obviously, with him sort of being so hugely famous at the time, that is already kind of your ticket to
Yeah.
any kind of secret society because you're a prisoner of your own celebrity status. So you can't go nuts on them and you can't sort of really go and expose anybody because you'll be exposing yourself. So not maybe so much the ultra wealthy, although there is something about it, but certainly the creative fields and the
Yeah.
psychic fields have always had a good relationship with each other.
Very true. Very true. Is there a prediction that you can share that you've made recently uh, in the public, somebody who's in the public eye?
Um, but well, no, nobody from The Secret because obviously, it's the discretion is probably the
Yes.
most important
Oh,
thing.
no, maybe somebody not that you have to be private with, but somebody that you've publicly predicted.
But yeah, at the moment, I'm really, really obsessed. So I had to
An obsession.
I I had I had to come. I'm Pisces. I'm Pisces. I
I
get
think I
obsessed
find
with
it.
other
That's
people.
okay.
I get obsessed with other people's relationships. I develop crushes on characters. I never develop crushes on like people,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but on like
I'm
a
Karen.
movie character.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It could be a cartoon character. Like I don't differentiate. Um, but I had to cover very, very super recently the Golden Globes. So I've got to kind of look at the couples, give commentary on them, not
Um,
not quite like, standing
yeah, yeah, yeah. Not literally
others
with
and
a microphone.
with the Michael. I wish. No, just over there on my sofa, and it's the middle of the night where I am. It's like 5 a.m. still sort of typing up.
Oh, yeah, guys,
Um,
by the way, she doesn't sleep at all.
I
She's on
know
all
it's true.
microphones.
It's true. I don't. I slept for 2 hours earlier today just to kind of shake off the Golden Globes. Um, but there's a new-ish celebrity couple that I'm completely obsessed with, and they are Pisces and Cancer.
Ah.
Um, so it's Selena Gomez who
Oh, I'm
has.
obsessed with Benny Blanco. Obsessed.
Yes,
Me
exactly. Exactly. How irresistible are they? So they're Pisces and Cancer. So you would think, what are they even doing in an awards show? What
too.
is the deal? Pisces and Cancer will have, two big milkshakes and be sat on the beach staring at the waves. They don't even want to dress up. They're going there in their tracksuit bottoms. But he's a Pisces with lots and lots of Capricorn. Lots of Capricorn.
Is me.
Right. So that Pisces Capricorn connection, you take the art
Yeah.
and you turn it into a business. Capricorn can turn anything into a business, anything at all. You name it, it's a business. You put it in the shop front, light up sign, and away you go. And she
Oh,
is
you my sign.
there you go. She is a Cancerian, and I think she really looks like a Cancerian. She's got that baby face, she's got that, beautiful
Yeah.
soft hair, everything about her. She's got this kindness growing from her, but she has a lot of Leo in her chart. So she is, again, kind of a carbon copy of what he is, where she takes that kind of romantic um character, but moves it to the center of the stage and to the middle of the room, all eyes on her, but it doesn't compromise who she is. So I think as a Pisces, I know I've got a lot of Pisces friends, and in fact, my husband and three of my children are also Pisces. So I know yeah, it's always messy
No,
here.
no
I'm
comment.
sorry, this is like the tidiest corner in the whole house. That's Pisces. And I've got one Capricorn.
Oh,
One, yay, one cutie Capricorn. Um, So I know that for Pisces, it's very difficult to run a business. So I really love that Benny Blanco thing where he looks like a Pisces. He involves himself in Pisces activities, the cooking, the music, but he approaches it from this very Capricorn perspective of making it into a business, turning it into followers. And, the guy could buy and sell, my entire bloodline. But that's a Pisces. And I love that so much
Yeah.
because for her, having that Cancer Leo
Mm,
um, amalgamation is very, very similar. So I'm at the moment obsessed with those two, without pairing, who are all about the love, but they've got that fire of ambition, each
yeah.
one in their loins. And the first time that I heard about their relationship, I was asked to cover, that's like a year ago, like again, like a red carpet thing. And people were kind of going, this beautiful Disney girl with, who's this funny guy behind her with the mismatched socks and all that hair? And I was like, wow, first of all, that boy has got exactly what my hair is like before, before I,
Me too.
yeah, yeah, it's the genes. And also, I have this sort of little obsession with people who wear exactly what they want,
Yeah.
whatever the occasion. I
Just
think
his authentic self.
exactly. Authenticity is so rare.
Yeah.
So I had to sort of analyze their body language, and it was when she needed to take, that's like a year ago, she needs to take a picture alone, and he was kind of standing behind her going,
Yeah.
and the question was, is he being genuine? Is he being controlling? And I'm like, no, baby, he's being Pisces. That's exactly what I'm like. Like if you have a photo shoot and you take me with you,
You'll be
I'm going to be
kissing, blowing me kisses the whole way.
straight off camera, making all sorts of movements. You should see me at the kids'
Love that.
shows. I'm like
You're
that.
that mom, aren't you?
Doing great. Mommy loves you.
I love that.
That's Pisces. That's
Yeah.
Pisces. So that is my sort of my current celebrity relationship obsession.
I'm so glad we got the same one. I love it.
I haven't looked at their tarot to be fair. I'm only going with the star signs, and the tarot can probably reveal a lot more. But at the moment, I'm not ready to crash. I still want to,
Yeah, yeah.
soar.
So I'll be honest with you, the energy I pick up of them is that he shows his love, and you'd think that he's more in love with her. But I'll be honest with you, what I pick up energetically is she's way more in love with him. She just shows it differently. He will wear his heart on his sleeve, but her love is so deep that she's more cautious with how much she shows because it's so deep and she knows that a lot is riding on her heart. She'll show him in private, but publicly she's way more careful. And I feel her love is way stronger, even though I know her fans may not want to believe it, but that's definitely what I
No, but
pick.
I really, really agree with that because I feel that she's got this real timid
Mm.
aspect to her personality, which is, so bonkers for somebody who's been in the public eye since she was a baby. But I feel like it's so positive for her that now she's got this show with two absolute legends,
Mm.
with Martin Short and Steve Martin, who are, smart, um, sophisticated, older gentlemen who will absolutely protect her and also
Lions around it.
yeah, yeah. And they'll encourage her to come out of her shell. And I feel like she is starting to be more of like a truth speaker.
Yeah, I agree with that. Inbal, it's been so amazing talking to you. You are one beautiful, interesting, amazing human being. I love connecting with you. Thank you so much for joining the Soul Diary podcast. And hopefully we can do this again. Definitely.
Yay.
Sending you so much love. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye, beautiful.
Bye.